One of the main topics of discussion on the Smart Water Show is the benefits of advanced smart water technology for water utilities today. In this week's episode, we're going to explore how smart water technology can help water utilities deal with the effects as well as the aftermath of today's extreme weather events. In February of this past year, both Texas and Louisiana felt the effects of back-to-back winter storms that were extremely unusual for the region. This week, we have a real treat in discussing how one water utility used technology rather than traditional methods to get them through this situation. Let's dive into it. So I'd like to welcome to the show Sean Benton. Sean Benton is the water system manager at the city of Monroe. Welcome, Sean.
Hey, thank you, Maurice. It's a pleasure to be on the Smart Water Show, man. I've been waiting for my opportunity to get on and talk with you about what we're doing over in the city of Monroe, Louisiana, man.
Sean, for those of our audience that are not familiar with the great city of Monroe, Louisiana, can you give us a little background on the city and then more specifically, a bit of background on yourself and your water system operation?
The city of Monroe is about 100 miles east of Shreveport, Louisiana, home of Delta Airlines. Population about 48,000 people.
Okay. I did not know that. I did not know that was the home of Delta. I think most people would probably think that would be Atlanta, but that is Monroe. Interesting. Very interesting.
Once again, I'm the water system manager. I've been a water system manager for the past 15 years. I'm actually over the water treatment plant and also the water distribution system that provide water for about 50,000 residents here in Monroe.
So now you and I were talking, and that's what I really want to bring you on the show to talk about is the winter that you all experienced this past February. What's a typical winter look like in Monroe?
Well, it's a typical winter in Monroe is nowhere near what y'all have over there in Wisconsin.
Right.
You know, we're not really used to snow over here. We do tend to get a little ice. But normally, you know, our main thing we deal with more than anything here is, man, is heavy rain, tornadoes and stuff of that nature, man.
Okay.
But in February, man, we got some weather, man, that we really wasn't used to having here.
Okay.
The temperature range was probably around 20 to 25 degrees. It started out with a little rain, started out with a little sleet, then it went into snow.
Yes.
And then when that snow came, it actually stuck around for a couple of days.
Okay. And
then we got another winter freeze that came in immediately behind with more snow again.
Right.
It kind of gridlocked the whole city, man. You know, here in Monroe, man, we're not used to that heavy winter weather.
Yeah, right.
And so it actually crippled our whole city.
How did you deal with that from a water system standpoint?
From a water system standpoint, man, we fared pretty well. I will sit there and say we had to get ourselves a letter grade. I would give us an A compared to other systems within our area. You know, we probably have maybe 100 water systems within our region itself overall.
Okay. And
we was one of the very few that actually was able to sustain our system, to still provide water to the customer, still have water and water pressure to fight fires for fire protection.
Right.
And also we was able to help other small towns within our community by delivering water to them also.
How were you able to do that? How did you use your advanced metering technology to help you do that?
Okay, Maurice, what we did was more than anything that we used technology at the plant, but also smart metering technology on the distribution system side.
Okay.
Well, how we tracked everything from the beginning was that our water treatment plant averages about 14 million gallons of water that we deliver during the winter months itself.
Okay.
During this winter event itself, we noticed that our distribution for its production numbers went from 14 million to 28 million, which doubled it.
Okay. Okay.
Now, our plant capacity is only 20 million gallons of water capacity we can treat at one given time.
So that was a problem.
That was a major problem, Maurice, more major problem. So what we realized that there was something happening within our distribution system that was calling for that demand.
Right.
It could, and normally we would think that would have been major water main breaks in the system.
Right. So what was the problem if it wasn't water main breaks?
Okay, well, what we did was originally we did get out there and rode to a few areas that we know we can potentially have water main breaks.
Right.
And it wasn't no water to be found in those areas for us in the breakages, right?
Okay.
And so what we did was at that point in time, once I got back to the office, I was able to log in into the beacon system itself.
Okay.
To kind of dive into the analytics side of it and see what was happening in the system.
Right.
Well, behold, I actually found over 3,000 meters that was running wide open with our distribution system, which actually causes demand on the plant itself.
Right. Right. Okay.
And normally any other given time, Maurice, I would have had guys out here running left and right, trying to continue to find leaks through the whole night.
Right.
But diving into the system actually allowed me to bring my guys out of those elements of weather and focus on what was the main issue. And the main issue was being able to get these meters attended to.
Okay. So did you reach out to those customers, or how did you handle that? Or did you send your guys out to shut those off? Or what did you actually do?
Well, we did it in two folds, man. Some areas we couldn't really contact a customer because those were closed businesses.
Okay.
Those businesses were closed due to the snowstorm and the winter remix itself as a whole.
Right.
So those locations, I actually put groups together, crews. I used fire department guys. I used my distribution guys. We went to businesses, and I could turn off those waters at those locations. With
your commercial industrial account, I think you were telling me about one particular account there that was really averaging a heck of a lot more than it normally would.
That's correct. Now prior to the storm, man, I was doing analysis through the Beacon system then. I was looking at some of my top users in the city.
Right.
Well, I had one user who I would assume would probably using more water than they should be, but they were using about 4,000 gallons of water a day at that location.
Okay.
After the winter storm was going on, I logged into the account and I noticed that they were using about 400,000 gallons of water at that time.
Oh, okay. So what was happening at that business?
Well, what happened was they had two problems going on. They had a major water line that was feeding the building itself through a 4-inch meter. That line had ruptured.
Okay.
And also through the fire protection line, also that it ruptured also. So at that time, it was two things that happened. We was able to save them for water usage on their bill wise, but also detect a problem inside their building at the same time. That building right there was actually a paper producing company.
Yes.
And so at that time, they were able to save a lot of the inventory and stuff by getting it on a timely manner to be able to get the water shut off.
I know one other thing that you talked about in the past is how you've gone to your customers and said, hey, we have this consumer portal that gives you access to your own information. Did that come into play at all with those winter storms?
Well, it did. As I mentioned earlier, when we migrated to Beacon, we also looked at putting the other system in called Ion Water.
Okay.
Ion Water was very beneficial to our customers. Right before the storm had came, I actually did an interview with the news lady here in Monroe about rolling out the Ion Water and how beneficial it was going to be to the customer itself as a whole, though. And so she was telling me a story after the storm where she actually was out of town at the time, and she actually logged into her personal account and found out that her service was running continuously the whole time.
Okay.
But she was able to call her landlord to be able to go turn the water off at her location. And what that did was that saved water damage to her home.
Right.
And also what it did was save her on the water bill also.
Getting through that winter storm, I guess you could say if you wouldn't have had advanced metering technology, you probably would have suffered just like other utilities did around you. If you think about on a day-to-day basis, how do you use the analytics and the advanced metering technology you have, even outside the storm? What benefits does it bring to the city of Monroe?
Now, one of the main areas is definitely customer service, Maurice.
Okay.
I will sit there and tell you one of the major reasons that led us from the fixed base, that led us into Reed Center, into Beacon, into Ion Water, was customers' complaints.
Okay.
We was getting complaints from customers that were stating that they wasn't sure that we was reading the meter properly, or the meter itself wasn't reading properly itself, and they had a lot of questions behind that.
Right.
And it became a hot topic on social media. It became a hot topic within the news itself, where people are starting to question our technology itself as a whole, though.
Right.
Now, as we know, we had put the system in several years ago, and we was on the brink of upgrading. But the question our technology that we had went to, the question our leadership here, and our what I call more of our customer engagement part of it.
Right.
Had us really to utilize the system more than anything. And what it did was it proved that we was doing everything that we could do.
Right.
And more than what they expected we was doing overall, though.
That's great. Fantastic. Well, it's great to see utilities utilize the data that's there. A lot of times utilities get these types of smart water systems, but they basically use them for just a meter reading system. So I love when I can hear, stories like yours from customers that are really using this to their full potential. Sean, I can't thank you enough for being here on the Smart Water Show. I'm sure our audience will get a lot out of your feedback from your particular instance and experience of using these types of smart water systems. But thanks again for being with us today.
And we're thankful for the opportunity to be on the show. I've been waiting for this day. Thank you.